Okay, right. So this is in, I'll just turn it to shaded really quickly. That'll make it much more responsive. All right. So you can see I've added a clipping plane here, and you can see that there's a literal plane, like a box. Um, but there's also this sort of section symbol with an arrow pointed to the direction I'm looking, right? And if you notice when I select it, it turns yellow, obviously, and I get the gumball tool. I can always move this. Oh, come on now. Here we go. And decide, I can look at this in real time and sort of say, well, maybe I want, let's see. Yeah, maybe I want to be not on the outside of this room, but on the inside. I want to make sure I get this cut through the ceiling for some top lighting. That's an interesting sort of opening right there, etc. Right? So I can begin to sort of move a clipping plane pretty easily through my project and try to find three really interesting places. When I have it selected and I'm on the properties, you can see that not only do I have the regular properties, but I also have clipping plane properties. I'm just going through these tabs on the top. And so now I can actually look at some of the settings specific to the clipping plane. So let's say, for instance, I'm looking, you can see the arrows here, right? Hold on, zoom out. You can see the arrows. I'm looking in this direction, the opposite of the blue arrow. Let's say I wanted to flip the direction. I could flip it that way and start to look in that direction. Or back, right? Which part is occluded and which part we're actually looking at. And then we can also talk about which views do we want to apply the clipping plane towards, right? So right now we have it set for perspective top and right, okay? Which means every time we move it, we see a change in top view, perspective, and right, but we don't see a change in front view, right? It's not really clipping anything, but if we wanted to, we could click that on. Now suddenly front view is clipped, right? Um, and so you'll notice that there's a variety of options here for those clipping planes. Right. So that's the easiest way I found to sort of start to look at these things in section. Again, I'm just going to try to line this up so I get some sort of interesting perspective. And let's see. The other thing I'm going to do from the other day, I have the sun still over here. If you don't see it over here, one thing you can do is you can just type in the command sun. Let's see. So we have sun and sunlight. Let's see what sunlight says. It brings up the same box. I can turn the sun on, and then I can either manually control the intensity and the azimuth and altitude. In other words, the angle off the ground and then the angle on rotation. Or I can give it precise location and precise time of year and day, and then it'll position the sun accordingly. So let's tell it that we're in Las Vegas. And what's today? We can say present time now. Why not? And hit OK. Now you'll see the sun is on. Okay. I don't necessarily see shadows. That's because I'm in shaded view. But as soon as I turn on rendered view, right, I should start to get shadows. The intensity of the sun is quite a lot. Huh, interesting. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to my 767 demo, the one that we made the other day. That seems to render out with fewer hotspots there. And it gives me edges, which I kind of can appreciate. Again, I'm not going for photorealism. What I want to see is how this thing, I want a model that sort of shows me what the lighting's doing on the inside. Where do I have light? Where do I have shadow or shade? Again, I can always turn down the intensity to see some of that contrast a bit more. I'll turn it back to 1. That's the default. Okay. You can see that the shadows are less crisp than they are in Revit. So that's one of the drawbacks here when it comes to Rhino. But I could move it around the sky during the day. Or let's look around noon. We could even change the time of year, the date, right? So as the days get longer, the sun's higher overhead at noon, the shadows get shorter, and then they get much longer during the winter time, right? When the sun's lower in the sky. It's just as you would expect. So that's how we can begin to sort of experiment here. And then once I have a section that I like, and I'm sort of finding different times of the year that sort of are doing interesting things. Let's say I want to show what this thing looks like on December something or other, and at noon or something. Then I can go ahead and do file, view, capture to file, right? And save out a PNG file. And then I can keep it there. And let's say I'm showing it throughout the day. I might change it and then take another one out. And then I can just arrange these in Illustrator as a grid and sort of, give a little label at the bottom, like this is December 21st at 10 a.m. versus 11 a.m. versus noon or something like that, right? Or maybe it's, here's what it looks like on the equinox. Here's what it looks like on a month later in October, and then in November, and then December, right? I have no preset sort of idea here of how you might sort of approach this, but I do want you to sort of look at these spaces that you're starting to define between surface and solid, and turn on the lights and really get inside and look at what's happening. Okay, and try to identify both good and potentially bad or challenging light phenomena that's happening, and show it. Let's talk about it, because that's the first step, right? We identify the challenges and opportunities, then we can begin to adjust, right? To maximize the opportunities and to mitigate the challenges. Okay, that's clever, just, trying to be a little clever here, that's all. Right, so that's one way you could do it inside of Rhino, for instance. Should we maybe switch over to Revit now? Let's try to
Yes.
do a section perspective in Revit.
Yes.
This should be interesting. You want to install it now? No, I don't want to install it now. So Melanie, for a while you were doing Rhino really well. Now it's sort of like you're all in on Revit, right? So
I
interesting.
am,
Yeah.
yes.
It's a
I spent a lot of time. I
yeah,
like
good.
on Revit, I was just trying to like look up, like watch your videos again and search up some other videos on YouTube on how to do like
Yeah.
certain things.
You'll find that there are a lot of resources for both of
There
these.
is
There
a
are very
lot.
active
Yes.
users on both Rhino and Revit, and of course, when it comes to Photoshop and Illustrator as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people use
Yeah,
those
I'm definitely
Adobe.
learning a lot. It's a lot to take in because it's all new.
Yeah,
But
you'll look back at the end of this summer and you'll be like, holy crap. Like I
I
think
yeah,
about, yeah,
honestly,
exactly. It'll
yeah, I
be
was
like,
showing my
whoa.
parents like the first assignment, like the planner compositions,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't even know how I did that, but I did it.
Yeah, you did, right? Yeah, exactly right.
And that's like what I'm thinking now. Like whenever I look at my model, I'm like, I don't even know how I got here, but it looks good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, towards the end, you'll have a chance to sort of uh, organize things and maybe make a small portfolio,
Yeah.
and maybe that helps you sort of, you'll have the product at the end, but really isn't it the friends that we made along the way, right? That's
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
the
yeah.
saying goes. Anyway,
Definitely.
767 demo. Let's try. Um, I mean, I'll be honest, my building isn't my planar composition isn't very interesting because I haven't really developed it at all. Maybe I'll do something that has some clear indoor-outdoor spaces like this one. Let's see if I can make I was playing around with the 9 square project for a different course. Sort of domestic scale, house scale, maybe. Although a pretty large house, honestly. Let's see what we get here. Yeah. So how to make a section perspective. This ought to be interesting. I guess first let's look at this. We have a camera, default 3D view, plan views, floor plan. Okay, yeah. We have a section cut line. And what I'm wondering is if we can just maybe do a section. First, let me go to the plans. Right, so here's the thing, right? The plans will always show any sections you have as section cuts, like right here, right? So let's move this section line to a place that might be a little more interesting. Maybe this is more interesting. And here we have a working section. And now mm, mm, mm. Drafting view, that's interesting. Yeah, it's not there. Show hidden lines. Okay. All right, when in doubt, we probably revert to YouTube, creating a perspective section in Revit. That was from 2017. This one was from 5 years ago. Really, I don't need a long explanation. 12 minutes seems quite long, honestly. How to get a section view, how to get a scale, section perspective, how to make perspective, what's a perspective section? Well, this is from Autodesk. Let's try it. Yeah, there we go. Clipped perspective view and a section view. Place them on sheets. Turn on the crop region for the perspective view. Select the crop scale. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so let's go to perspective view. Bear with me for just 1 minute. I'm going to, let's go to, what's this view? Okay, let's do that. And 3D view. Ah, crop view, var clip. Aha, here we go. Crop region visible, section box. Let's see what a section box does. Try to figure out which one is the section box. Is this the scope box or the section box? Scope box. That's the levels. Var clip, crop view. Oh dear, what did that do? Pivot. Oh my gosh.
Also, did you add those trees in
Yeah, I
Revit?
did. Those are yeah.
Okay.
Remind me about that. I can, let's see, crop region visible, far clip, extents, far clip, scope box, and section box. How does one make a section box, I guess, is the question. Far clip active, far clip offset. So this will like clip 50 feet away from us. 100 feet. Let's just get rid of that. No active clip. Oh. All right, maybe I actually do need to watch a video or something. Let's see. Create a clipped perspective view and a section view. Place them on a sheet. Okay, I don't need that. Then insert the perspective view on a sheet. Still an active sheet. Use zoom tool from full navigation view. View scale to the reference distance. Section for perspective. Easier way to create a section perspective. How does maybe any changes perspective settings make them easier to use? Most helpful change is the automatic creation of a matching section box when you orient a perspective to a section. In the image below, we want to create a section perspective matching the section. First, go to plan view to create a section. Then enter any perspective view, right click the view cube and select the object, orient to view sections, pick the section. Oh, holy crap. That looks like what I want. Orient to perspective to section. First, go to the plan view to create a section, then enter any perspective view, right click the view cube and select orient to view. Oops. Right click orient to view sections, section 1. Okay, now what? For some reason, I don't see like here's the new part from Revit 2019. You will not only be aligned to section, but section box will also be created to match the section cut planes and extends. This makes the process of creating a section. Scope box. Scope box. For grids and levels. So I said orient to view, orient to section. And then what's this? Section box. There's my section box. Okay, I might need to play around with this more. Embarrassingly, it's not coming. All right, let's see. So I think we're on the right
No
track
worries.
here. Make a 2-point perspective view in Revit. Okay, 3D section. Section perspective in Revit. 4 years ago. 2 years ago. All right, I might just watch this really quickly. Let's see. Oh, shut up. Let's see. Okay, he's making a section. Okay, now we're going to the section. Oh, I see. Interesting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create another, just a quick 3D view with the camera. Let's see here. View, 3D view, camera. Yeah, why not? They'll look this way, not a big deal. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and, I mean, we did this before. I'm just going to make a perspective view. Okay. Section box. So the section box is now turned on. I can go ahead and click on this section box. See if I can or not. Section box. Now I can go, let's see, maybe back to plan and adjust this section box. You can see it here. Yeah. So now I have a section perspective, and of course I could render this out if I wanted to. Right. Now, if I ever want to change that, I can just again find that section box. Where is it? Scope box. Section box. Go back to plan and change it, for instance, if I wanted to cut through there. Right. That's, I mean, not gonna lie, that's kind of it's kind of a pain, but whatever. Sun settings. And so again, just as a reminder, when I go to sun settings, let's see, single day, I could always just pick, let's say that, hit apply, or winter, hit apply. But I can also sort of do a time study. So I could say, okay, let's do a solar study. Wherever that went. Oh, it's up here. All right. Preset, let's do winter solstice. I could always bring this up and see the sun settings again. Let's say single day. Let's look at the winter solstice. Let's look from sunrise to sunset. Time intervals of 15 minutes and hit apply. And then let's see, I'll just preview that really quickly. Right. And if I like that, I can actually export it out. File, export. If I scroll down, images and animations, I could say solar study. And I could say all frames. Do I want a hidden line? What style do I want it? Shaded, realistic, whatever. It'll render that out and stitch it together in some sort of movie format, MP4 or something. I don't know. Why don't I try it? Why not? Include time and date stamp. Sure. .avi file. Hey, all right. And I don't know. Why documents? Let's see. Desktop. Let's put it on desktop. We'll call this Sun Study 01 or something like that. So it might take it a minute, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say full frames uncompressed. I don't know why it zoomed out on me like this. It's annoying. But what I can do is I can always change this frame once this is done. Oh dear. Let's see if I can cancel it. Yeah, I'm sure. So if I zoom out, I can again change my frame. Maybe. Sorry, this is taking a minute to actually respond. Annoyingly. Yeah, I get it. Seriously. All right. Yeah, okay. It's not being very responsive here. If I turn the sun path off, this will react. I don't know. Anyway, I can go back to my 3D view anytime and wherever it went. Huh. That's weird. I didn't save it down here. But anyway, I guess with every view, you get a section box. You can drag the front and the back to sort of clip, just like clipping planes, hither and then yon, as they used to say in CAD software, section box. The weird thing here is that let me see. Okay, so here's the section box in this view, finally. And I can use it to start to cut in different ways. There, or there, or there. Right. So anyway, that's that. Okay, for some reason, my section box was like this plane. Once I dragged one edge up or down, then suddenly I had a volume I could actually sort of manipulate in space. I'm always looking for those arrow handles. And again, then I can turn the sun path on. Let's see. Solar studies. Not sure what I'm going to get here in the depth of this, but let's see. Single day, and let's go for an equinox. Sunrise to sunset in 15-minute increments. Quite dark at the beginning. Yeah, okay. Right. So anyway, I think you get the idea, hopefully. Of course, I could always go with a still, tell exactly where I'm at, what time of day and year, and then change that around if I want. I should have just said search. Yeah, what in the world? This interface is so goofy sometimes. I don't get it. Las Vegas, never. Yeah. Okay. Las Vegas, 2nd of July, 4:32 p.m. And hit apply. Let's see. All right, so I could always go. It's 12:32. Oh, okay. Yeah. There we go. Let's say 1:30 p.m. 12:30 p.m. You can see that we're getting some sun into this window, but it's not penetrating too deep. That probably differ than if I went with something like, let's go with January. And let's find a time where it's actually coming in. Right. So anyway, you get a sense of what these things can do, these tools can do. This is a pretty normative sort of like looking, I don't know, box with rooms, not as many windows and things like that. So what I'm kind of curious about is the kind of possibilities that you might see in your planar compositions as you're starting to turn them into architecture. All right. All right. That it was recorded, so I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.